look at this. I can pull my party members into a pit that kills them. I find that hilarious. Welcome.
You should expect to have that happen to you guys.
Job. My guess is peace, Carby.
Put it away.
And now you know how to.
If I have any questions, I will refer to all of you, but here we go. Crap Guide to Final Fantasy XIV DPS, a Jocat Productions. I'm starting with DPS because it's the only class I know how to play. So.
Everybody likes to do damage, and don't pretend like you don't, because I know you're lying. Otherwise, why would you be playing an RPG with core mechanics such as leveling up, getting stronger, and looking fashionable as fuck? It's to do massive numbers on the other guys until their numbers are so small they match the PP size of anybody who doesn't commend at the end of a duty. The other members leaving too quickly is no excuse. How do you expect to move quick enough to avoid AoEs if you can't even move quick enough to tell your allies they're doing a great job and that their glamour is sexy? Is that uncharacteristically
This is a lot faster than I was ready for.
nice of me? Maybe, but it means I get to steal the LB3 from the only melee in the group. Welcome to A Crap Guide to Final Fantasy. Today I'm going to be talking about every job. That's right. What, you thought only the DPS have to DPS? Boy, I could slap you with my overflowing glamour dresser.
I won't lie. That threw me for a loop. Look, I play healer to heal and DPS to DPS.
Damage is the name of the game in Final Fantasy XIV, and the entirety of the game is designed around everybody dealing it, including the tanks and the healers. If the DPS roles are contributing 60% of the damage, tanks and healers are the ones who fill in the other 40. So if you don't contribute, you belong in the garbage chute. So don't.
Healer damage is about 14%, I think. Look, I think they did that so that, like, when the DPS do bad, they can say, oh, my tank wasn't doing damage. My healer wasn't doing damage, you know? It's to share the blame, you know?
Don't get so hung up on the role names. Everybody is a DPS. What I mean specifically is that one, not only is FF14 a cooperative game, which means anytime you waste is not only yours, but also anybody else in your party as well. And two, every combat feature in FF14 is designed with dealing damage in mind. Healers and tanks get skills that actively promote doing more DPS. Hell, Sage is a healer whose skills actively benefit from doing DPS.
The thing is, though, everyone's a DPS, but not everyone plays DPS, right? Like, isn't healer rotation pretty, How many Malefics can I cast? Yeah, healer damage is boring, yeah.
And most importantly of all, Enrage. Enrage is what happens when you overstay your welcome in a dungeon or boss arena and the residents have run out of things to talk about and are just really ready for you to leave so they can finally go poop without being worried that you're gonna steal all their old DreamWorks DVDs. That is to say, you're either forcefully kicked out or alternatively, they instantly murder you. How do you prevent this from happening? You murder them first, of course. Hopefully it's been drilled into your head now that DPSing is essential. Not just for the jobs with the title sticker, but also anyone in a fancy robe or edgy trench coat as well. Now that you know that, how does one go about dealing with
As if the glamour would actually tell you what people are doing.
Press a button. See another button light up? Press that one. Congratulations, you have successfully completed a combo. And doing so will reap a myriad of benefits from putting damage over time on your target, gaining mana, doing your taxes, or any variety of other additional effects. Secondly, you want to press these skills that the game labels as abilities and the community calls off global cooldowns, or OGCDs for short. More like OGCDs nuts! I personally call them free damage buttons. They cost you nothing and there's literally no reason not to press them while your normal cooldown is rolling.
Yes, my Bard 4.
This one has a long cooldown. What if I need it later? No, it doesn't. Shut up. The cooldowns in this game are so short you might as well press them because by the time you need them again, whoop, they're back up. So use your goddamn free damage buttons. The next rule of DPSing is knowing your ABCs. Always be casting. More specifically, it means that the best way to make sure you are doing the most damage that you can is to always have your global cooldown going, even if it means accidentally pressing the wrong skill like the single brain cell that you are. Because if you're always pressing buttons,
I've done
even
this
the suboptimal
multiple
one, you
times.
are doing more damage than if you weren't. And here's a live example with my two subjects, Jan and Chloe. They both deal 1 million damage and suddenly the boss flies out of melee range. Jan sits there waiting patiently for the boss to return before she can start doing 1 million damage again. Meanwhile, Chloe's pressing the deal 1 damage at a range button the entire time they're waiting. I ask you, puny viewer, which person is dealing
That's why I play
more
ranged
damage right
DPS.
now?
I don't have to worry about that.
Who's dealing more damage? Sure, it might not look like much, but it's going to matter when they fight the boss that has 3,000,002 health and they wipe all because the other DPS decided they don't want to press button.
That, like we were saying, right? The little astro slap, right? Well, you have to manually healer auto, though it is very annoying. It's a small DPS in raids. I got you.
You run up to it and then you backhand it.
Oh! Might not do a lot, but these hands add up.
Best things you should do to improve your damage in Final Fantasy XIV is this. It's really simple. I want you to lean in. It's a super simple thing. Here, come close. I'm gonna say the thing. Are you ready? Okay, here it goes. Read your tooltips! The little block of text that literally tells you what your skills do. Honestly, you would be surprised how many people queue into an expert dungeon and never realize they have a skill that can attack multiple targets. The final responsibility every single role in Final Fantasy XIV shares is not dying. Oh sure, the healers help, but most of the time your own survival is on you and only you. And that means making sure you do the fight mechanics and don't take avoidable damage like it's got the cheese touch. much. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you in the middle of your cast? You want to try and hit that purple parse like the big man you are? That's too damn bad! Each time you take damage...
See, that's why it's great. The streamer privilege and the sprout privilege, of course, is that even though if I just stand in the wrong places, my healers see it and they just grab and pull me.
To recap, everybody's DPS matters. Press your free damage buttons. Always be casting. Read your tooltips. Stay alive. But even if you keep all those things in mind, the #1 rule to improve your DPS performance is to practice. Striking dummies are all over the goddamn place, out in the overworld, and even in the yards of some random people's houses in the residential districts. So if you see one, there's no shame in whacking it a few times like you're auditioning to be a dominatrix. I'm sure the neighbors won't mind. Practice makes perfect, and even all the
I don't like walking
into
into people's houses.
Translate into the
it's
doing.
invasion
So go
of
and
privacy.
do that doing so that one day you too can do the do and make everybody else look like doo-doo because of how good your doing skills are. Just know the difference between an amateur and a master is that a master has failed way more times. By the way, get ready for a party wipe. Wait, what?
It's too bad I've never experienced that one, right, guys? No raid wipes around here. All right, that was the first one though. DPS, that's the easy one. This is where we really start learning, because, you know, I obviously have, I've evolved past my DPS. Like everything in this video I understood, but healing, that's where things get a little sticky.
I love power, and I love feeling powerful. It strokes my biggly wiggly and forces lesser beings to bow down to my awesome might lest they taste my boot between their gums. Nothing has ever given me the same rush of adrenaline than knowing that everybody has to submit to my whims for their own safety. It makes my...
Yo, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why people don't like playing healer. Like you're the master of the team. I've been saying this. See, me and this Jocat guy, we're on the same wavelength.
brain do the goody good chemicals and allows me to feel as though I have control over this truly unfortunate reality that the universe is slowly careening into an eventual heat death. But none of that matters, because look at this, I can pull my party members into a pit that kills them. I find that hilarious. Welcome.
You should expect to have that happen to you guys. Whenever I unlock that at level 50, especially in a dungeon, if there are other people around, like in a raid, I'm not going to risk random people reporting me. But in those dungeons, where it's just you, me, and the other people on our team,
Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy. The greatest power of all is the power to have control over people's lives, which is why the healer is the most likely party member to have a god complex. Right behind main tanks, mentors, and anybody who's an omnicrafter. You are the most important person in the party, as you, along with the tank, are responsible for keeping the party alive by kissing their boo-boos and slapping the bitch who made the boo-boo. That's right, as a healer, you do have to deal damage as well. Man, but
oh, we just learned this.
And healers are supposed to heal.
That's
right?
what. That's. Oh no, I just said that.
Healers.
Whatever. He hard read me on the. Oh, but they're supposed to be called healers, but.
Healer's job is not necessarily to heal the party, but rather to keep them alive. And yes, there's a difference. There's going to be a lot of downtime between heals, and you bet your afflatus rumpus that you're making the fight take longer than it has to if you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for your next chance to cast Cure. What do you do when the party's full health? What do you do when the party's full health? Or even halfway up and standing? DPS the bad guys. No, I don't pay your sub. But when the fight takes too long, it starts to rub all up on everybody's nerves. And when
See, Hannah, this could be us. We could be making Final Fantasy XIV music. Hannah, can you make me a... I can't even get through the line without laughing. Can you make me a rap production that I can rap on about Final Fantasy XIV?
Yeah, I could.
Please do.
You're for the most part keeping the party alive with a variety of healing utility spells, some regen, some shields, but an equal amount of time you're casting those, you're also throwing in some extra DPS when time allows. Remember, DPSing is just mitigating future damage, and if you're able to kill the current wave of dungeon mobs before they deplete the tank's HP, which by the way is going to regen to full by the time you reach the next mob pull anyway, what does it matter how low their HP gets? So yes, DPS when time allows. When does time allow? Well, I know you're scared of independence and thinking by yourself, but that's going to be a balancing act you'll have to figure out. However, my rule of thumb is the minimum amount of HP a party member has to be at is 1. But if that's too scary for your whittle fingies, ask yourself, will the enemy's next attack make your party member fall on their ass? If yes, heal so that it doesn't. If no, time to become a glare mage, motherfucker. As long as they're alive and you're clearing the content, you're doing your job right. There is one cap.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look, I play DPS. I don't take a lot of damage unless I catastrophically step in the wrong puddle. Like, I probably got healed like 4 times that entire raid.
One caveat to doing your job right, and that's that everybody will hate you for it. Literally, by healing you start to generate a lot of aggro from the bad guys. So if you ever decide to heal before mob pulls in dungeons, it's important to stick close to the tank like an ERPer sticks to Vieira's wearing 2B thigh highs. Especially if you throw on a regen and suddenly 800 mobs crash through the wall with a How to Fry Fairies cookbook. You can still do it, but you should know what you're getting into. Like live streaming and hoping that anybody will watch. As for your limit break, we heard you like healing, so we put more healing in your healing so you can heal while you heal. Unfortunately, you won't be using any limit break aside from LB3 because LB1 and 2 just heal the the party, and you already have plenty of band-aids and popsicles to do that on your own. LB3, however, is so potent in healing it resurrects everybody in the party back from the dead instantaneously. But they will have to do the thriller afterwards, so it's best to be safe for when you at least have enough people to make a backup dancing crew.
What does that mean? I'm gonna have to call my audience out for this one. Do you really have to stand there and dance when you get LB3'd? Of course, you know, I've never seen a raid wipe. We're a little too elite for that, so I've never had to witness this firsthand. But healer LB3 takes 10 billion years to cast. Then you're forced to stand still for like 5 seconds. Can you die again during that, or you can die? Awesome. Yeah, I mean, just don't. You know, there's no mechanic that forces you to die, so you know, just never be in a position where you have to LB3 as a healer.
Boomers and the new kid on the block who bought a Glock and has a TikTok. The white mage is the most straightforward. You heal when a buddy is hurt and you attack when they're not. You're also equipped with the best AoE skill in the entire game and the ability to never run out of mana unless you're really, really bad. Best of all, when your buddies get hurt, you can heal them to harness their blood for the blood lily. But let's say you want to play white mage, but you like tarot readings and star signs like a suburban woman. This is me. Logian is probably for you. You draw cards that will enhance the abilities of your party members, and you fill the arena with enough space dust and constellations that you'll need 5 layers of sunglasses to see.
I really didn't think about it, but I really like the Astro like effects. They scratch that primal itch for bright, pretty colors.
Taking this job will also teach you how to build a bomb. Don't worry, it's friendly. Scholar is a weirdo who used to hang out with all the bad DP.
I can't wait for Tazzy to receive Doom. Another joke that will go over my head until it happens.
Yes, kids, but decided to turn their life around when they met a nice girl who supports them in their new hobby. Only problem is she knows nothing about your hobby and you have to keep correcting her on fandom trivia. They're all about putting shields and defensive buffs that protect the party from taking damage in the first place. That way they can guess what? DPS even more. Also, your girlfriend can get sick. And finally, the new kid on the block, the Sage. A scholar who decided to stop being nice and pick up a gun that shoots lasers! Like Scholar, they also put shields and protective buffs on their party members so they can spend more time shooting lasers! How do they do this? After seeing Alphino change to the job, my guess is vanilla. It's a liquefied car bumpers. Rest in peace, Carby.
Put it away!
And now you know how to play.
I didn't hear anything. It didn't happen. Jocat, why? Why would you do this? You know people like me would be watching this. What did he say? I don't know. I'm trying desperately to discard it, but it's okay. We only have 1 left. Surely he doesn't spoil anything in the 3 minutes 40 seconds left, right? Tank. Now, this one is the one that's going to go over my head. I've never played the class, so... But I will someday, so we may as well learn.
There's a fartness. I bet you don't have the slightest clue how to play this eyeball-melting anime game. Oh, sure,
That's
you
my
probably
game.
know that you can beat up enemies by clicking on them until they die, but do you know how to find a static in your FC to help you prog uwu? I bet you don't even...
I don't know what any of those words he just said meant. You guys, I don't know if you know this, but you guys always talk about, I was doing my prog. You guys know that I have no idea what that means. Prog is progression, static, a group of people you prog with. And of course, Rat's just here. You chose Astro over Dark Knight. Like, just out of left field. Just upset at my life decisions. No big deal.
even know what any of those words.
Oh, he said it. I bet you don't even know what those words mean.
So sit down, shut up, and eat your gissel greens, because I'm gonna teach you what thee mayhap not knoweth, thy noobliness. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy. The tank is the person in the front lines of every group, leading the charge to inevitable party wipes, which is because you are the most important person in the party, having slap fights with the boss since everybody else is way too squishy to handle the puss-pounding patty cake. You'll never see Jimmy's soft boots eyeing up the cloud of darkness with his 2x4 and
that's me,
scriggly tree
Sprout.
branch. But how hard can tanking be? Turn on your tank stance, do your 1-2-3 combo, and blame the healers when you die, right? That sounds like somebody who needs their short Q privileges revoked. Firstly, tank stance. You turn this on to start gaining enmity. What's enmity? It's where you shout at the bad guys, "Hey, hit me!" They'll be paying attention to you so long as you're dealing damage, so you better be dealing damage and not just having a staring contest. If you don't, then they're gonna start indiscriminately charging at the rest of the party like a dog in a movie theater. If you are the designated main—
Wait, what's going on here? Like, why? Okay, no, spoilers. Wait, spoilers. Okay, close.
If there is another tank in the party and you are the off tank, make sure this is off, unless there's some other bad guys you gotta pull. If you have conflicting stances with the other tank, they will chuck their shoulder pads at you. As a tank, you should make sure the bad guy's ass is facing the party as often as possible, as indicated
I've been
by
killed
the
by
bright,
this
glowing,
multiple
half-eaten
times.
donut underneath the target. This is so that if the bad guy sneezes, you're the only one getting down with the sickness. And also, if your party has anyone playing any jobs that particularly likes to clap them cheeks, you've provided a bright, shiny spanking space. On top of this, as a tank, you are by Heidelin's blade Blessing's horrible at dancing, which is why you should move as little as possible once you've got the enemy's attention. That way the party can continue to whap the Wumpus without having to chase down the bad guy's glorious booty. Just as well, because you have control of where the baddies are, you control how useful everybody else is. So if somebody puts down a useful AoE, stop fucking running away from it. Now that you have the baddie's attention and are in a nice cozy poking position, you don't have to worry about anything else, right?
I'm just like looking at the character because I can't look at the boss mechanics because that's a little too spoiler for me.
Dumb fucking horse. Believe it or not, when you die, it's not entirely the healer's fault, just mostly their fault. That little bit of responsibility you have is based on how well you can juggle mitigation. What's mitigation? It's the buttons that make the bad guy's slaps hurt less that you sometimes press once a subscription and never think about again. You ever wonder why you have several
Yo, I know this is unrelated.
the bad guy's slaps hurt less that you
What is it? Look at this. This is like Monet. What is that? That's crazy. Can I get that in my house? Different NPCs you can get. I'm gonna have like a study and it's just gonna be people staring at me in every little divot.
sometimes press once a subscription and never think about again. You ever wonder why you have several of those buttons that all seem like they do the same thing? Well, that's because you're supposed to space them out over the course of a fight so the healers don't have to sacrifice their entire mana pool and firstborn child to get your frail ass through the dungeons. Every tank also has a press X to not die button that can be used to survive any devastating attacks, or if you're a really aggressive paladin who drew every enemy in a dungeon ever and don't want the healer to hire a hitman on you. As for what your limit break does, tanks are thicker than the average Disney mom, to the point your honky chonky donkey bahonky extends to the rest of the party, protecting them from damage up to a whopping 80% at LB3. The thing is
that why you kept yelling at everyone like, oh, I can limit break, I'm a tank, I can limit break?
Limit break with Paladin lets you be immortal for 10 seconds.
No, it's a meme? Okay, now you're confusing me.
If you're a high-end player, you'll probably be using tank LB as frequently as a good player rolls high on loot. Overall, you have 4 flavors to choose from: punk, grunge, metal, and Christian rock. There's warrior for big axes, big anger, big self-healing, and if you like to do fell cleaves again and again and again and again. If you prefer more brooding than cruding, the Dark Knight is great for doing your best guts impression. You get a huge-ass sword, goopy black energy particle effects, and the literal best mitigation in the entire game, but it's balanced because they get the worst invulnerability button in the entire game. You press it, and then it makes you die. Gunbreaker is called a tank, but
that doesn't seem right. I don't think that's correct. Oh, they changed that? Oh, no. Why do they have to get rid of all the fun things? Get rid of my random astro pulls? Get rid of the auto die button? What are they doing to my class identity? Yoshi P. See? I learned your memes. I'm one of you.
everybody knows it's just 3 DPS in a trench coat, as designated by the fact you get a fucking gun and your swings explode. But you have to be a hardcore gamer since it requires a lot of cartridges. And finally, the paladin, who tries to pretend they're a healer and caster, but only when the other healers and casters are looking. But fuck all that, because the most important thing is that you get the motherfucking sword and shield, baby! Try getting behind this wall of holiness, bitch! Now you know how to play tank, you're welcome.
I don't think I'm gonna play tank anytime soon, but and honestly, the DPS stuff I kind of already knew. Call me a savant. No, but yeah, Jocat. Also, shout out to the GG/Sasha. There were spoilers. Ah!